It's Mazzy. It's Neil Young Archive time. The new box set, Neil Young Archive. I bought this. Now it's 8 LPs. I think it's about $140, $145. I've seen it as low as 130 some places. Wow. And it's 8 LPs, 4 albums, all on 2 slabs of vinyl, because this was the CD era when artists tried to fill her up, just because you had more than 60 minutes, you had 70, 80 minutes, you had to fill it up as close as possible or as much as possible. I don't think that was always necessary, but this is a fantastic set. Now, this is my favorite period, my third favorite period. Box 1 and 2. Now, I don't have box 1, but I have original copies of those first Neil Young albums. Are fantastic. But box 2 is pretty cool. And you know those records. Not going to list it off. Look them up. You can do research too because you have the Google. But I want to talk about this because this is the CD era. So only 1 or maybe 2, we'll see when I dive in here, were from analog tapes. I think one of them. The rest are from digital files. And unlike a lot of other labels and artists, Neil Young tells us. Now, the only problem with this set, the only, to me, lazy, fuck-up, cheap-ass thing is Neil and Reprise, and I don't know if this is part of Rhino maybe, put these in the Young Archive. You're an archive. You know, it's kind of like not wearing gloves when you're an archivist. In the archivist arts, is that sort of saying it twice? The archivist arts. You wear gloves when you pull out artwork and things, not when you pull out records. But put fucking poly sleeves. Neil Young used to always put poly sleeves in his releases up to the last few years. I don't know if he got knocked on the head during the pandemic or something, but the last box doesn't have them. Some of the last archive issues that have come out don't have them, but all the other box sets, all the other reissues from the Neil Young Archive have poly sleeves. I'm not always a stickler. Sure, I can put my own in, but come on. You're paying money, so put fucking poly sleeves in these records. They're beautiful black, but put the ones with the poly lined. These are numbered. I don't even know how many there are. I think this is selling out, actually, and as we all know, about a year later, give or take, these will come out individually. So if these are records you want, and remember, this is the CD era. So except for one of these records, Harvest Moon, these records have been hard to get on vinyl. And I only have one other on vinyl. I did have Mirrorball, but I had a sealed copy that I traded away to one of my good friends who's a massive Pearl Jam fan. And of course, we both talked about it's going to come out eventually. I didn't open it. I got it years ago at the Seattle Fair, the Seattle Record Show. And so I think he deserved it more. You know, he appreciated it more than I would. But now I have it here. And I want to say the quick answer, these are excellent pressings, flat, no noise, all cut by Chris Bellman, who's been Neil's mastering guy for pretty much the entire series, I believe, and has done a fantastic job on all these records. Now, again, they're numbered. I'm not sure the quantity. Mine is number 5727, which I think is very close to the Jewish New Year. Isn't it 5727? Someone's going to put it in the comments. I should know this by heart. Actually, I shouldn't, but it's kind of in the 57s, or is it the 58s? I don't remember. It just seems like yesterday it was 1967 and I was bar mitzvahed. But these are records from 1992 to 1995. One each year, 92, 93, 94, and 95. The first is Harvest Moon. So let's talk about these, or I'm going to talk about them. You're going to listen. Box. They're always nice boxes. They have this cover page, sort of a diagram of the archive, how to get around. You got Movie Tone. You got Hearst Theater, as in he has an old hearse, or I don't know if he still does, that was run by vegetable oil. I remember, or maybe he had the Cadillac. He had a vegetable oil car that used to go near my office when my office in San Francisco was across the street from, was it Tech TV, ZDTV? He was on there. I remember him going there once. And KQED also, the public broadcasting station, was a block away. Neil Young Download Store, the Home Store, all the goods. So you get to see that. I want a t-shirt like that. Not really. So the first one is Harvest Moon. And to me, again, this is one of my favorite Neil Young albums. This period of the 90s was almost like a comeback for him. The 80s were a hit and miss. I like some of those records from the 80s, but I'm not going to even talk about them. But these were solid records. These are great records. These are amongst the top 10 of Neil Young records. I think two of these in this set, and one of them is Harvest Moon. This is the one that's been in and out of print over the last decade or so, and this is from 1992. This has Linda Ronstadt, Nicolette Larson, two records because obviously it was a CD, and it is kind of a sequel in essence to Harvest in a way, or it's a throwback or a reminiscent of that album. A lot of acoustic guitar, a lot of that folk country crossover, what we now call Americana music, and it's such a gorgeous record. Now, I did play this a couple of times, and I played my original, or at least my copy from the last decade, more than last decade, whenever I got the last one. And they're virtually identical. I didn't hear a lot of difference. So if you have that one, I might sell that one. I might put it in one of my auctions now because I'm kind of getting rid of doubles. And, you know, even if something's a collector item, that probably not so much, but it's still, you can't buy it alone, I don't think. Maybe it's still in print. I don't even know. See, my mind is on vacation, but my mouth is working overtime. But beautiful songs, of course, from Hank to Hendrix, You and Me, Harvest Moon, War of Man. There's a good natural beauty, which is actually the name of the final song on the album. There's a great organic quality of this. You know, Neil goes back and forth with his loud, intense, noisy records, some with and without. Crazy Horse 2 is acoustic-based things, his folk kind of country crossover. And this is one of those beautiful records. So in terms of this compared to the last one, virtually no different. I mean, I spot checked them, I listened to them. I didn't go back and forth between tracks, but well balanced, enough bass, good mid-range, and just the sound stage is wonderful on these records, which is pretty normal. Now, this one is mastered from a 4416 digital signal file, so this was recorded digitally, and that's what you're getting. That's what Chris Bellman cut from, and it's stupendous. Now, my favorite record in the collection is Sleeps with Angels from 1994. This is a stunning album. I did mention in the earlier video, when this set was announced, I did an announcement video, so I am repeating some of the things in that video, but that was months ago. You don't even remember, or you didn't even watch it. This is also cut from a digital file, 4416 digital, and it's a beauty. There's a haunting beauty to this record. Now, I do have a copy that was a German pressing that came out when the CD came out years ago. This is one of those CDs when I had it on CD, or when I first got it on CD, I would play all the time in my car, off-road. I just think this is a perfect album. I did mention in that earlier video that Piece of Crap was my least favorite. And interesting enough, when I played it this time, I actually enjoyed it more than I ever have. It still doesn't really fit, I think, with the rest of the music, the rest of the vibe of the music. It's an over-the-top, in-your-face, kitschy thing. But I started thinking about the lyrics in that song, talking about plastic bags and tearing things over and tearing things down, and things are a piece of crap. I was thinking of what just happened in Washington to a building, an American iconic building that was torn down. But I compared both of these, and I think by far the new one is superior. Now, again, cut by Chris Bellman, the original. I don't even know who cut that original. It was pressed in Germany. That's the only place you could get it way back. And I only got it about 6-7 years ago, I believe. I found a copy. So this is, again, these are over 2 LPs. All these are 2 LP records. They all come with the appropriate insert, the lyric sheet, the credits here. Here is the Sleeps with Angels. But again, every song on here, I think it's dynamic as hell. The soundstage is better than the original. The bass is tighter than the original in the mid-range. It's really a beautiful presentation. Now, the covers are about the same. They are single slot, except for Harvest Moon, they're all single slot. So you got a little wider format with the Neil Young Archive logo on the spine, and they fit in. So they didn't make a gatefold when the original wasn't a gatefold. And even the German one from 1994 was not a gatefold, even though it was 2 LPs. All these records in this set are very much crankable, really dynamic sounding records. You wouldn't know these are cut from digital files at all. At least I wouldn't know. And if it's cut beautifully, if it's cut for vinyl, mastered for vinyl, it doesn't matter if it's analog or digital, especially in this case when the record was recorded digitally. Next we have Unplugged. Now I'm not quite sure if this ever came out in vinyl. Someone's going to tell me. I never owned this in vinyl. I've only had the CD. Again, this is over 2 LPs. So the 2 record set, again, no poly sleeve and these black inner sleeves. Like the others, there's an insert, but in this case, it's a replica sleeve. So maybe this did come out on vinyl. They made this as a sleeve, and all it is the lyrics and the credits on this. But what's interesting about this one, there's only one in there. Like, why bother making it as a folded inner sleeve if you're not using it as an inner sleeve on a 2 record set and you're only using it for the credits? Just print it on a piece of paper, right? An insert, oh, like slick cover or something, like the other ones. But this sounds good. I'd say this is the only one that's a little bright, but my CD's bright as well. So I think this could have been warmed up a little bit, at least on my system. And my system's warmer now than it used to be with my Spender A7.2 speakers. But it's an excellent record. And I love that it opens up with the old Laughing Lady. That's, I think, the opening track from his very first solo record from 1968. The one record of his that seems more one foot in Buffalo Springfield than anything else than his other records. I just love that record. Jack Nitzsche orchestrations, I believe, on it. And it's a great song. So it's kind of cool that he dug that up for this Unplugged. And of course, a lot of wonderful songs like Buffalo Springfield's Mr. Soul. You got Pocahontas, Like a Hurricane Needle and Damage Done. Helpless from CSNY. Harvest Moon. Long May You Run. The Stills Young Band, great song, great version of that. Another short-lived band project that Neil kind of changes his mind all the time. But it's great to have this on vinyl finally. And of course, maybe if you want to wait a year, you can have it, or you can buy it now. And if you have any of these other ones, sell them off. I'm sure they're in demand right now. And lastly, a record that I didn't get into as much. I got the CD, and of course I said I had that sealed copy, and that is Mirrorball. This is the godfather of grunge with Pearl Jam, except for Eddie Vedder. This is a great record. This is a really crankable record. And I tell you, this is the only one. This is mastered from the original analog tape. So in this collection, this is the only one that comes from analog tapes. Obviously, it wasn't shrink wrapped. I believe in the shrink wrap. Yeah, the one I had, there was a Mirrorball hype sticker that was Neil Young and Pearl Jam. And again, it comes with the black inner sleeves without poly sleeves, 2 record set. And you have one of these inserts with the most impossible, this is like the Unabomber wrote the notes, wrote the lyrics out on this. It's just so crazy. Oh my God, it's like a serial killer wrote that stuff. This is the diatribe of Neil Young, his lyrics with Pearl Jam, the godfather of grunge with his grunge kids. This is a really good album. And I tell you, I was surprised how dynamic this was. Of course, it's audio. Of course, it's that thick grunge thing. It's a thick sounding record, but I don't mean thick. The dynamics are good with all the thickness. I'm going to use thick a lot here. With all the wash of guitars on this record. It's a very dynamic sounding record. And I did not pull out my CD. So I don't really have a memory of the CD compared to this, but this sounds excellent. And you're not going to get anything for this price. In fact, if you buy the record separately, you're going to pay more for now than the entire box, the entire Neil Young Archive box. So again, that last record is Mirrorball. Excellent. It's got the same kind of craft-like cover. It's a thin record, and it's, again, a slightly wider spine so you can fit the 2 LPs in. Nicely produced box. I love this period of Neil Young. And this has been on my turntable for a couple days now, constantly, with Bruce Springsteen, with everything else. There's a lot of stuff coming through right now, and I just love it. I crank it up. It's raining now here in Seattle, and I've been blasting this record. And Neil Young stuff, especially with Crazy Horse, especially with Pearl Jam, those are crankable fucking rock records, and it's really good stuff. So I want to thank you for watching. This is the Neil Young Archive, the official release series, discs 26, 27, 28, and 29. I know they skipped, didn't they skip the Geffen stuff? Yeah, I don't get all these boxes because I'm an all-in Neil Young record. I have most of the originals, but I did get 2 and the last one with Ragged Glory, because what they did, some of the CD era stuff, they're expanding. Instead of cramming it on one LP like they did early on, they let it bleed over 2 LPs like they should, but it's still 33 in RPM. So thanks for watching. Neil and Mazzy, love you.